Hey, it's James and Michael with the Crypto Guys. And in today's video, Bitcoin is down again. And the big question is this the bottom? Well, I'll find out what we think in a moment. So make sure you watch this video until the end because we're going to share some really valuable stuff for you. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. And if you like the content, smash that like button. Now, Michael, let's take a look at what is going on in Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so let's go to the chart and take a look here because as we know, we just got a lower low on the short term, but on the long term, we're still a higher low. So let me explain the difference for those of you who don't understand what I mean, right? So if we go on, probably easier to see on a 1 hour. So we are getting lower highs, right? So you could see like there's not really a high here, but and lower lows, right? Lower lows, you can see that. So and then lower high here, lower high. So we're officially in the short term a downtrend, right? So now we're just getting a green candle. I think it's trying to push. Let's see if we can get a higher high on the short term. But in the longer term frame, like if we go 4 hour, we are still technically getting a higher high. Yeah, make sense until we go below 33, right? That was the level. So we're still officially right on uptrend over the long term. But there's a lot of ways to look at this, James. You know, if we use the ribbon, some people would argue, yeah, but we're under the EMA ribbon, which is bearish. That's true. That's true. Now, if we look in a 1 day, we're probably still under as well, and we are. So this is bearish, of course. So, but as things are, there's no doubt we're bearish in the short term, right? Like I'm in a short term, even a 4 hour like candle, we are in a downtrend. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, downtrends don't go down forever, right? I mean, at some point is going to have a bounce. So when I say buy level, I mean, at some point it's going to bounce. I just don't know where, but I would assume that probably if we keep going down, it would either be here or we already reached the bounce here, right? But it would make sense that it could do something like this and keep going back down, right? And then boom, it goes down. And then we get a bounce there. And if that doesn't hold, then will be the next one, which would be 33, which would be where we were back in 24th of January. Now it's be like a month later, we go back to where we were a month ago, right? So remember, the crash has already happened. So it means that like we're not experiencing a crash right now. We're just like, that's how crashes work. Crashes generally just crash down, right? They bounce a bit, then they go back down to either the same like level or lower level than what it was. And they may go sideways for a while, right? They may do this for a while. That's why usually you spend 3 months at least when we crash, because remember, we crash from this top, right? All the way down here. So I want to be clear that it's like, this is not a crash. We already experienced a crash. Now we're trying to find out where's the bounce going to come, right? Is it going to be like a bounce like this, or is it going to be that we're going to go back to that like level of 35? So, and, but here's one reason that I think we may have already reached the bottom. And if you look here on the RSI, it gives us kind of a clue, right? We went down here, right? So if you go here and we reach kind of the bottom here. So it's not exact. There's a bit of a like delay when you see the RSI bottom and then the lowest candle. Then we went up from there. Yeah. And now we just went down and we had the lowest peak on the lowest bottom on the RSI. And now we also had the lowest price candle here. Is a bit of a like delay. And the question is, well, that may have been the bottom and we need to go above the ribbon, right? To become bullish, at least on the 4 hour and those time frames. So that's how I would look at it. And so I'm not saying we're not going to keep going down either, because the truth of the matter is that we could have bad news or, you know, if the markets don't do well, that could be another factor. So those are things to think about.
Yeah, and also remember that when you're talking about bad news affects the market differently, whether it's up or down. When the market's really high, bad news can still have an impact, but there's a buffer, right? But when when the market is low, when Bitcoin's low, and then bad news comes out, it's just multiplied. So, what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, what's happening with the US and Biden and his thing about cryptocurrency. There's all those things kind of floating out there. And in a bullish market, that wouldn't affect as much, but that really does come into play. So there's many factors here for sure.
That's right. That's why it's still, like, I wouldn't say it's a high risk, but definitely a medium risk that we have not reached the bottom yet, right? So, I mean, I don't want to talk about like the very, very worst case, in case you're wondering, is always the 200-week moving average. And I'm not saying that's impossible. I cannot say that, because if you're wondering, well, where is this 200-week moving average? Well, it's quite low, so let's hope we don't go there. But the 200-week moving average is right here. It's at about 20,000. It's going up each day, but it's very low, right? And that has always been the worst case. Now, I really don't think we're going to go there, but I just thought I would mention, like, if something really bad was to happen, the markets would really crash. It would take massive amount of, news, or, somebody selling Bitcoin, like, Elon Musk or something like that, or Michael Saylor selling Bitcoin. Yeah, okay, that might do it. So I'm not saying it's impossible we go there, but that is the worst case, because I did mention worst case last time. I want to be clear on something, that it's the 200-week moving average. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about the fear index. So where is that at?
Well, the fear index is down from yesterday, which is not surprising because we had a lower low yesterday, and probably it's at 25 right now. Yesterday was 27, and probably tomorrow will be lower. Probably tomorrow might be about 23, 22, right? So now if we look at over 1 year, I do want to just show you guys something that's interesting. Like, if you want to understand what is the worst case scenario, well, 10, right? Like that kind of shows you it. Like 10 is probably the place where you might see, if it goes back to these like levels, then that might be an indicator of the bottom. But we're not there yet. We're here. So there's still room for it to go down to extreme fear, right? So it's funny, this time this 50% crash didn't even go down, right? To, well, I don't know, it was 24th of January that was there. So let's take a look. When was that? And how low did that take us? So 24th of January, was that the bottom? Yeah, it was. So on the 24th of January, we did go down here, but now the fear is starting to go out as the confidence in the market is growing. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, as we say all the time, this is why you have to have a trading strategy, right? You can't just go in and think, hey, like I'm trying to buy at the low and sell at the highest high. You need a strategy, and that usually involves multiple trades at multiple levels. And also why you want to be cash positive, especially in times like this, because then you have options.
Well, because if we say this is the bottom, but you might have a bottom below the like bottom, like you buy the dip and you say that's the bottom. Well, maybe it's not the bottom. Maybe there's another like bottom. So that's why you stay cash positive, because many experts, right, can be wrong about what the bottom is, especially in uncertain times like today. But the bottom will come at some point, and it will have a big bounce, and Bitcoin will, moon again. And everybody will say, oh, I should have bought it. Because out of fear, a lot of people don't buy at all. But I don't think like that. I think as part of having a strategy, right, as you're talking about, is that you DCA as it goes down to the different support like levels, using the different tools I have and like so on. So again, I am cash positive. So if it was to go down to 30, I would buy a lot at that level for sure. I wouldn't count on 20. But I would probably go all in at 30, but we're not at 30 right now, right? What is it? It's 38. So there's still room for it to go down. And anyway, I've got a big order, as I told you guys, 35.77, right? Just to show you, to be clear again, that would be the level I start buying a lot, which is right here, 35.77, right? So, and 33 as well could be a level, and then 30. Those are the levels. And that's it. Like, that's what we got for you today. Right? So.
Fantastic. All right. Like always, do your own due diligence with your trading. have a strategy, be cash positive so that you can buy at the different levels. And other than that, Michael, it's been great to hang out today. And for everyone here, we will see you soon.
All right. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, everybody.
All right. See ya.